Imagine making an enemy who never forgets your face, who tells its friends about you, who recognizes you years later in a crowd and comes back specifically to make your life worse. That sounds like something out of a thriller, but for some animals, it's just Tuesday. We like to think of grudges as a deeply human thing, holding on to a wrong, remembering who hurt you, waiting for the chance to get even. It feels like something that requires a complex, almost petty mind. And yet, the more scientists study animals, the more they find that some creatures don't just feel anger in the moment, they remember it, they hold it, and in some cases, they act on it long after the fact. So the question is, which animals actually hold grudges? And what does it mean that revenge might not be a human invention at all? Let's start with the undisputed champions of the grudge: crows. Crows are not just smart, they are frighteningly smart. They use tools, solve puzzles, and recognize individual human faces. But here's the part that should make you nervous. They remember the faces of people who wronged them, and they hold that grudge for years. In a now famous experiment at the University of Washington, researchers wore specific masks while capturing and banding wild crows. The crows experienced this as a threat. From then on, whenever those masks appeared, the crows would scold them, dive at them, and harass them aggressively. That alone is impressive, but it gets stranger. The crows taught other crows. Birds that had never been captured, that had never had a single bad experience with the mask, learned to hate it too. The grudge spread socially through the population. Years later, crows that weren't even alive during the original experiment were still mobbing that mask. The researchers had essentially become legendary villains in crow culture, hated by birds who only knew them through reputation. Think about that. A crow can hold a grudge so powerful it outlives the original offense and gets passed down like a story. That's not just memory. That's something disturbingly close to a vendetta. And crows don't just remember enemies, they remember friends too. People who feed crows regularly have reported the birds bringing them small gifts, shiny objects, buttons, bits of metal, as if keeping score of who's been kind. The same brain that tracks its enemies also tracks its allies. But crows are far from alone. Let's talk about an animal with a brain and a memory to match its size: the elephant. Elephants are famous for their memory, and it's not a myth. They can remember individuals, locations, and events across decades. And that memory includes the bad stuff. Elephants have been documented showing clear hostility towards specific humans who harmed them or their herd, sometimes years later. In regions where elephants have been hunted or harassed by certain groups of people, they have shown aggression specifically toward those groups, while remaining calm around others. There are accounts of elephants recognizing and reacting to people who had hurt them long ago, singling them out from a crowd. An elephant that was abused in captivity may remember and distrust a specific handler for the rest of its life. Their grudges are slow, quiet, and long. An elephant doesn't forget, and it doesn't necessarily forgive. Now let's move to an animal that lives in many homes and is famous for its attitude: the cat. Cat grudges are smaller in scale, but anyone who lives with one knows they're real. Cats have excellent associative memory. If something frightens or hurts them, they connect it to whatever was nearby: a person, a sound, a place. A cat taken to the vet may treat the carrier, the car, and sometimes even the person who brought them with suspicion for days afterward. Step on a cat's tail by accident, and you may find yourself being avoided, or quietly resented, for a surprisingly long time. It's not quite the calculated vendetta of a crow. It's more like a lingering emotional memory. The cat doesn't plot revenge, but it absolutely remembers that you are associated with something bad, and it adjusts its behavior accordingly. Dogs, interestingly, are different. Dogs can certainly remember bad experiences and fear specific people, but their tendency to forgive is much stronger. Dogs are hardwired for social bonding with humans in a way that pushes them toward reconciliation rather than revenge. A dog that's been mistreated is more likely to become fearful than vengeful. which, in a sad way, is part of why we love them. They forgive almost anything. Then there are primates, where grudges get political. Chimpanzees and other primates live in complex social groups full of alliances, rivalries, and betrayals. And they keep track. A chimp that is wronged by another, attacked, cheated out of food, betrayed by an ally, will often remember it. Studies have shown primates withholding cooperation from individuals who treated them unfairly in the past. They remember who shared with them and who didn't. They remember who supported them in a fight and who abandoned them. In some cases, primates have been observed taking revenge in a remarkably calculated way, not lashing out immediately, but waiting. A chimp that loses a fight might not retaliate against the stronger opponent right away. Instead, it may wait for a better moment, or target something the rival cares about. This kind of delayed, strategic payback is the essence of a grudge. It requires memory, planning, and emotional bookkeeping. So why do animals hold grudges at all? What's the point? The answer is that, surprisingly, grudges are useful. In the wild, survival often depends on knowing who to trust. An animal that remembers which individuals are dangerous, which ones cheat, and which ones share has a real advantage. Forgetting a threat could get you killed. Forgetting a betrayal could get you exploited again. Holding a grudge is essentially a memory system for danger and unfairness. It's not pettiness, it's protection. This is why the animals that hold the strongest grudges tend to be the most intelligent and the most social. Crows, elephants, primates. Holding a grudge requires recognizing individuals, remembering specific events, and connecting emotion to memory over long periods of time. A simple animal can't do that. It takes a sophisticated mind to truly hold a grudge. And that leads to an uncomfortable mirror. Because when we hold a grudge, we often feel ashamed of it. We're told to let go, to forgive, to move on. We treat grudges as a character flaw. But evolution might tell a different story. Your ability to remember who wronged you, to stay wary of people who hurt you, may be one of the oldest survival tools you have. The same instinct that makes a crow remember a cruel face is alive in you. So, the next time you can't quite let go of an old wrong, remember this. You're not being petty. You're doing something crows, elephants, and chimps have done for millions of years. You're keeping a record. And in the brutal logic of nature, a good memory for enemies has always been a powerful way to stay alive.